Hello again. You will never be rid of me. I wanted to give you some of that in silence because it's kind of like how I feel when I'm actually able to spin up a lot, which judging by the dust on my spinning wheel, I haven't been able to do for quite a long time. And one of the pieces actually broke and repairable. But in doing this video, I realized it's something that I should really incorporate more into general life, if not shop kind of stuff. But I've been very, very tired recently. I just wanted to do something that wasn't using too much of my brain CPU, something that I already knew how to do, something that I was trying to rifle through my brain files and figure out something that I haven't shown on this channel. And I was going through videos, and I have a video on how to finish this yarn, how to it's called Setting the Twist, which I'll actually put at the end of this video if you're interested in following this entire process, as well as there's a certain way to wash it, and you can get special kind of soap, stuff like that. I don't like to do that, but that's for the other video. And the reason this kind of stuff was on my mind wasn't just because, as you can see, it's been sitting in the living room for a long time. It was more, there's a video that's been going around where there is a woman saying that she didn't know that you could eat fruit directly off of trees. And there's a variety of responses to stuff like that. And my initial thought was, let's just say derogatory, but in trying to take a closer look, not be as harsh, because she wasn't really, she didn't have the vibe of doing that in the video, no matter what she was saying. I started thinking more and more about how people get in that situation, where either the people who could have taught them about that just didn't know either, or she was in a situation where people didn't really think it's something that they should have told her about, either because it was a given or it was just irrelevant. And that goes back to a lot of conversations about people knowing where their food comes from, and that kind of discussion can get really one-dimensional, and I'm about that. For those of you who don't know, I was actually raised as a different gender, which I am not going to do an in-depth video on anytime soon, but I digress. I was expected to do a whole lot of things that were just kind of a... And over the last several years, I've met people who have talked about their mother and their grandmother passing things down, and then I started thinking about the lemon lady again, because she was talking about she had a lemon tree in her yard, and then her friend was asking her, why do you have a bag of lemons in the fridge? And that kind of went into the conversation about she didn't know that you could just pick it off the tree and use it immediately. It had to be treated or something. I'm not going to go into what I think her logic was. But there are so many cultural and just human skill aspects that used to be taken as a really obvious given. So people wrote them down less, or they specifically set aside time less. That was about to be a sentence. They set aside less time to teach their kids or their friends or various people in their lives because it was just a well duh. And that was also my initial reaction to that person talking about the lemons is, well duh. But as I said, I kind of stopped and thought to myself, was probably in a situation somehow where it was just thought of as a well duh, and nobody told her as a kid. Or there's a lot of coincidences there that would have to happen, and I'm not trying to I'm trying to be less derogatory. A lot of the videos on the channel lately have definite negative notes, but I am a firm believer that you have to get that out somehow so that you can build on that in a good way. Well, I was just expected to do a lot of traditional things that, oh, that's just what this gender of kid does, and some of that I dumped from my brain because I don't like doing it because I was just expected to immediately take to it and love it. But a lot of things like my yarn crafts as well as spinning have stuck around because I don't believe in gendered skills. And you can argue all you want about men tend to be bigger and stronger and women are this, that, and the other thing, but there's more variations in humans than people who want to put us into little tiny boxes want to believe. And if it's not a practical delineation that you still have to check over and over and over, then it's really pointless. And I would rather be considered a really weird guy who likes all of these like traditional like feminine things than not be able to make the things that I do. Which kind of brings me around to my other reason for showing you this process is I'm a plant lover and I've done several videos on our garden, and I'm trying to use this as a positive pressure to show you guys what we're doing this year. But someone said it out loud the other, internet out loud, you know how that goes, that traditional skills like gardening and homesteading tend to be associated with a certain kind of person. I have found a lot of that, especially on YouTube and some other places, but I would kind of get sucked into a channel and learning a lot of different things, wonderful things about chickens and gardens and how to build houses, and then someone would just drop a comment, and I would realize, oh, these are not people who would see me as a person. Or I would be a horrible person to them, just kind of sitting there and not being what they expect me to be. And there's a whole culture that has appropriated general human skills. And quite frankly, that's immoral. That's very, very selfish. It's telling the public that you own things like taking care of chickens, or you own things like knowing how to hand sew, and that just feels, what I want to say is that just feels icky. It's very disingenuous, and I do really like that I'm seeing more and more millennial age type of people learn what a lot of people dub the old lady crafts, and not just knitting and whatever, that's the one that comes to mind the most, but the very human things, working with your hands and knowing how things work, knowing where things come from. And I want to directly support, however I can, people getting their hands back on the traditional normal human skills, things that have been done for thousands and thousands and thousands of years in various forms. It's just really sad to see other people talking about also getting sucked in, and then someone drops a comment, and then you realize, oh, these are not people who would be my friends. These people would not tolerate my presence. And I was also going to describe a lot more of what's going on, but I feel like I've said a few more important things than what that little peg is called with the string around it. I don't know how to do everything. I don't think I will ever know how to do everything, but I want to show someone my age, especially a guy, doing something that's considered, for a lot of people, very contrary to a lot of his other interests and philosophies. So if you're interested in that and you watched through all of that kind of thing, I really appreciate you being here. I said that already, but it's really true. And well, I will be trying to kind of quantify some of the other skills that I have, even apart from learning victory garden kind of stuff. And basically, I want to showcase both in a way that someone can potentially follow, but also showcase that there's a whole lot of different types of people who should have access to this, who should be able to break down that wall of, even if it's a short wall, it's a wall, and it kind of psychologically stops people from considering it something they can do too. And if there's anything you'd like to see, even if I haven't said anything about it before, I can see about the possibility of me doing it. We are not in a house, so that's limited, but like I've said in a previous video, I want to figure out how to show people what they can do with what they already have. There's so many channels out there that are like, oh, here's how to do this on just a half acre, and that... No. Especially if there are any guys, like literal guys, who have been interested in this kind of stuff but would like some encouragement. I am definitely here for that. Everybody, but especially breaking down the walls that make you think you can't do something. And I would love to hear from you, either through other social media or in comments and stuff down below. And I will see you next time.